Aloha gamer, aloha! My name is Mike and this is the Gaming Road Warrior channel. Today we are going to talk about the SNES game trilogy, the Super Star Wars games. This is a nostalgic blast from the past, a 1992 game series based on the Star Wars original trilogy 4, 5, and 6. It's a familiar side-scrolling run-and-gun game that runs you through a slightly different variation on a familiar old story. Towards the end of the video, I'll talk about whether or not these games are still worth playing today. So sit back, strap in, and hit the throttle to the gaming wasteland. The games. Super Star Wars Trilogy. Generally speaking, Super Star Wars A New Hope follows the plot of Star Wars, with some changes. It was adopted to work in the style of an action game instead of being able to buy C-3PO and R2-D2 from the Jawas. Luke has to fight to the top of a sandcrawler, incorporating a series of leaps from moving conveyor belts. Brief cutscenes tell of a short version of the film's story. The most significant difference between the game and the movie is you jump headfirst into the action and excitement that is Luke Skywalker. The game starts with an all-too-familiar title crawl and a quick look at C-3PO and R2-D2's escape from capture. The game begins on an average day for Luke, in this case, killing everything in sight and tearing his way through the desert. No worries are lost on farming moisture or his difficult childhood with his adoptive parents. Luke, however, is too busy shooting through giant scorpions that explode into many smaller ones or single-handedly killing a Sarlacc pit. You don't get to know the droids while haggling with the Jawas. Luke finds C-3PO in the desert and begs for help to retrieve a kidnapped R2-D2. Luke then proceeds to hunt and kill as many Jawas as he can get his hands on. Unlike in the movie, he uses a blaster indiscriminately against the death lurking every 5 feet. The game ends on a finale you might be able to see coming. Flying over the surface of the Death Star through the trenches while taking on TIE fighters. We don't get the excellent Han Solo redemption because the game is focused on Luke and how much of a badass he is.
What? Yahoo! Look out!
Not convinced? Did you see him in The Mandalorian Season 2?
Bruh.
Luke then goes ahead and blows up the Death Star, and Han gives him props while Leia hands out medals, except... Don't worry, Chewie, you will get one in the future. The good guys win, and we get a warning about the Empire striking back. Through the credits, you see the outline of Darth Vader, who should have been dead since we blew up his TIE-advanced X-1 starfighter.
Regular report, please. Right.
Hey, G. Parker. How did you do in your blaster rifle training?
Well, I did poorly. I could hardly see out of these helmets.
We need to talk to our sergeant about this. Every time we try to shoot a rebel, we end up missing the target.
I don't think that was such a great idea.
Why not?
Well, the sergeant is going to recommend we talk to the person in charge of Stormtrooper Resources.
Okay. I don't see a problem talking to the Stormtrooper Resources.
The Stormtrooper Resources manager is Darth Vader.
Yikes! Never mind.
Apology accepted, Captain Nida.
Then we have Super The Empire Strikes Back. In this one, Chewbacca and Han get some buffs because Luke was way more powerful, and it was their turn to get a bit more. Like the movie, things start with the hold-up Rebel Alliance on Hoth, the Empire sending a probe droid to check things out. The rest of the gameplay is also on Hoth for at least half the game, keeping in line with the movie's first act. Luke goes to Dagobah to resume his training to become a Jedi Master, but unlike in the film, it's not very clear why he's doing that. He learned a lot of Force abilities before meeting Yoda, so without a much-needed Obi-Wan cutscene, it's unclear whether this is just a waste of time.
Hello there.
He trains with Yoda at one point, fighting, killing a giant swamp monster called Habogod. Meanwhile, Han and the rest of them end up in Cloud City, which is run by Lando. In the movie, Han's not clear where Lando's initial allegiances lie, and Lando pretends he will fight him before they embrace. However, Han leaves the Falcon in the game and fights attack droids, bounty hunters, and even stormtroopers. All of this before he even meets Lando, and when he does, he's welcomed with open arms. Luke takes a couple breaks in the middle of his action-packed fight through stormtroopers to face Darth Vader several times. Not only is this a significant divergence from the movie, but it's not nearly a different ending. In the movie, Luke is humiliated, mutilated, and his life turned around. In the game, however, Luke doesn't seem to learn anything. He unceremoniously takes Vader to the cleaners. He reunites with his friends, saves Han without too much of an issue, and the crew plans to pay a visit to Jabba the Hutt. Well, the Slave One did escape with Han on board it. Yes, I'm calling it Slave One since that's what George Lucas called it. Finally, we have Super Return of the Jedi. In the first level, what could have been a simple task of finding Jabba's palace becomes harrowing and dangerous. You have to jump to your speeder over death pits, swerve around rocks, and then at one point you're on foot, and it seems like everything wants to kill you. You have the choice to play the three characters, Luke, Chewbacca, and Leia, which changes how the preceding events take place, making it seem like they got all there at the same time. There's no escaping Leia's infamous costume change as Luke and Chewbacca are thrown into prison. But instead of being locked away, Luke goes beast mode, and when he kills a giant frog dog creature, he is granted an audience with Jabba. When Luke, Han, and Chewbacca are sent to the Rancor, they keep their weapons. Luke doesn't need to have his lightsaber snuck to him by R2-D2. And there's no sign of Boba Fett, who isn't even a boss level despite the assets for him existing in the last game.
Bantha. Yes?
Leia escapes from Jabba's side half a mile away. Though we don't see it, Jabba dies quickly, and they run in an action-packed racing-esque escape. Luke tells Leia they're Vader's children, though Vader never said that in the last game and claims he needs to go confront him to show him he's a good person on the inside. Luke from Super Star Wars continues to differ from movie Star Wars, doing what he does best, carving out a path of dead bodies on his trip to the Death Star. Then inside the Death Star, it doesn't stop, no. Not until the Emperor tells him to continue. And then death gets to Luke for the first time because killing is not the way of the Jedi. However, it doesn't stop him from finishing things up by killing Palpatine by running his lightsaber through him repeatedly. Vader never gets his moment of redemption, but Luke kills him, and he admits to Luke that he is actually a good person. In the end, he plays Lando, piloting the Millennium Falcon into the second Death Star. The ghosts of Yoda, Anakin, and Obi-Wan appear to finish things.
Wait, I came here to deliver your Amazon packages, and I don't want a job as a bikini-wearing model. Oh, I see. You're friends with Harvey Weinstein. Now I understand.
Development and reception. Now let's talk about the artists and design. John Knowles was the artist involved in the character design, and Harrison Fong drew the landscapes and backgrounds. Fong later recounted that he didn't do much in concept drawings and simply began rendering because everyone knew what Star Wars characters looked like. A PC port of the SSW games was in the works in 1994, and while almost completed, was halted by LucasArts and has since been leaked on the internet. In 1992, a Mega Drive version was in the works by Sega, but it was cancelled unceremoniously, only for an early prototype to be dumped in 2020. The game contains original scores from the movies using the handwritten John Williams scores. Scripted software, the developers used their in-house musician to convert the scores into SNES 8-channel sound chip. In terms of reception, critically, the Super Star Wars games did okay. The first games based on A New Hope received pretty much high scores across the board. It won Best Action/Adventure Game of 1992 and Best Movie to Game. Empire didn't quite get the same acclaim. However, high ratings for the soundtrack, voice effects, graphics, and faithful action were notable, and 1994's Return of the Jedi game was praised similarly. However, it fell under some criticism for frustrating controls, easy bosses, and repetitive level design. In conclusion, while taking some significant liberties from the source material, the Super Star Wars Trilogy lives on infamy amongst other licensed video games of the time. You might not be playing a movie-accurate version of Luke, but a heroic Luke who plows through his enemies with no hesitation or issues at all. This is a game for you if you want action, adventure, bikini-wearing Leia, and extended fight sequences against the boss enemies that weren't part of the film. It might be a blast, but for a fun romp around the galaxy, it's not so bad. Out of all the 3 Star Wars games I played, I would have to say that Super Star Wars is my favorite. Super Empire would be second, but it was frustrating due to the last duel with Darth Vader, but still considered playable. Don't get me started on Super Return of the Jedi, since that had the most confusing level design. I hated the level in which you had to destroy the indoor shield-generated bunker. The Ewok Wicket level wasn't fun either, and the fight against the Emperor was just ridiculous in how you would die from him taking away your ground to walk on with his lightning attacks. After dying, and some more dying is when I finally beat him. The attack of the Death Star was more of a chore than a fun ride. This was a long ride and a long ride out. I think the Mode 7 didn't do the game justice either. I would stay away from Super Return of the Jedi. Get it though if you want it in your collection, or if you're just curious to see if you like it. The games aren't expensive either to buy now. If you enjoyed this video style and want to see more, show your love by leaving a thumbs up below and subscribing with post notifications turned on. We plan on making more videos just like this, so you won't want to miss a single video. We are currently on hold from making Stray for the PS5 since I'm waiting to get my physical copy to play. My next video will be on the Revenge of Shinobi for the Sega Genesis. This will be a spoof documentary. The other video planned is for the PlayStation 2 console story. This will be my personal story and how I acquired one and why it's a great system to have in 2022. Thanks for watching. This has been Mike, and remember, gaming is your road to adventure.